I'm Rebecca.
And we are your wonderful, beautiful, bold, brave as fuck hostess. And today we have a special guest, the wonderful, the fabulous. Where is the fan, baby?
Oh, you know
the
what? I have
wonderful.
to bring the fan out,
You gotta
honey.
whip
Yes.
it. Yes, the iconic Phillip White in the house. So glad to have you.
Thank you. Thank y'all for having me.
Excited.
We're so glad to have you here. And honey, it's our naked truth. Are you ready to bear it all?
You know what? Let's do it. I have no idea what they're asking me.
Cheers
So
to that.
cheers to
that.
this.
To our
Cheers.
naked truth. And before we get started, you guys, we are setting the mood with our wonderful manifestation candles. Today's candle is virginity. You see how pretty that is? See, pretty, pretty. Yes, virginity, right? Like, wait a minute, you say manifesting, but then you say virginity. What is that about?
No, this candle is going to have, it's for protection and for cleansing. So since we're in this kind of environment that we're going to let it out, you need to protect and keep it, let's cleanse it after we're done. But you're going to have your black tourmaline and your selenite crystals. Your black tourmaline crystal is going mostly for protection. Because everybody needs protection. Your ground, your space, your energy.
Yeah.
People get around you and they're in a funk. You don't need that stuff all over you.
Cleanse me,
cleanse me the work energy. Let's cleanse the work environment off of me, okay?
Shake all of the corporate off of me, please.
Mercury retrograde right now. It has been kicking my ass. I don't know about y'all, but I feel this from mechanical issues.
I am like, universe, can you please tell me what I'm doing wrong? Because you were showing me over and over and over again.
Okay, I'm like, when is this shit over? When is it ending? Goodness gracious, I'm feeling it in every way imaginable. And then, so Phillip, what happened? We talking about the Mercury retrograde and how walking in our truth and still going on with day-to-day life. Yeah. With everything that's like going on around us.
Like that was you introduce yourself. So
yeah. So yeah. My name is Phillip White and I do have many jobs. I have a day job. I actually work from home now, so I'm kind of happy because of all the different gigs that I have. But I am a fashion designer. I have a clothing brand called Fit Clothing, and I'm taking a little bit of a break because I've got so many different things going on, which the latest exciting thing that I've done is I recorded a single.
Yes, we was talking about this.
Thank you.
I loved it.
Yeah, so my childhood dream has always been to sing and to be a pop star, and so people think that it's kind of like me going left by singing, but it's actually what I wanted to do before fashion.
It's like I'm trying to think about it. I think I recall us like briefing on that whenever we'll be out of the town, hitting up our favorite spot, Mr. Mister.
Oh, I love Mr. Mister.
But it's like I kind of remember us briefing on this topic before about music. That's exciting.
Yeah, for me, my childhood, I always knew that I was going to do something that was not like a regular job. And somehow my path in life ended me at having a job. But I always knew, and I had this deep, deep thing inside of me that said, you're not normal and you don't have to be normal. You can just be yourself. And once I listened to that guide, all of these things that I do creatively, whether it's fashion, music, taking all these pictures and traveling, those are the things that as a child I had these dreams of.
Really?
Yeah, I never actually wanted to go to college, to be very frank and honest with you.
Yeah.
I felt like growing up being a Black male in an educated middle class family that I had to go to college. Like it was forced upon me to go to college. And I really didn't want to go. And so I essentially just picked something out of a book. And it was like literally the worst thing that you could do. Like you don't just need to pick something out of a book just to do it. You really should listen to your heart.
Yeah, especially with expensive colleges. It's like, oh
Oh
my
yeah.
gosh.
Oh yeah, I'm living that right
I
now.
wasted time doing that too. I knew
Yeah.
better.
It's a very expensive thing, but you know what? I say I regret it, but I think that my path was intended to go this route so I could kind of figure out exactly what it is that I want it to be. And honestly, just being myself and not defining it by just you're a musician, you're a designer, you're a regulatory analyst, you're like all these things. And it's like, I'm just myself.
Yeah.
And whatever I feel like doing this morning, I'm going to get up and do. If I feel like recording a song, if I feel like designing a collection, I'm just going to do it. And that's one of the things that I really want to inspire people to do is just follow your arrow and just kind of go where you need to go with yourself and forget about all this other things that society and your parents push on you. um, Growing up in a black household, it definitely was like, you have to be better than other people, you have to be better at this, you have to be better at that because you're black, you have to study, you have to like do all of these things just to prove that you're worthy. And that's something that at my ripe old age of 39, and yes, I'm giving my age.
Okay, because we're proud over here. No fucks given.
I am 39.
I am. No one ever thinks that any of us are our age. So it's like, I'll be like, yes. I'll be like, the first thing like that is, well, how old do you think I am?
Yeah.
And then I hit you with a hammer. Oh, I am 38, gonna be 39 in March. Like, I'd be happy to push it towards that 40.
I'm like, I'm over there,
and so excited.
42.
Like, I'm already planning my 40th birthday. I'm so excited. Yeah. We're gonna keep it international.
Well, you get it together. You gotta be there.
You got to be.
I know. It is coming. It is coming. Your story already sounds so liberating and like free. You know what I'm saying? Like, how did you get there though? Like, with you being brought up in a household with these expectations and this guide on how you supposed to, where they felt like you needed to go. Like, what gave you the courage to step out of the realm and do something different?
That's a really good question. I think for me, I guess we're gonna go deep. So let's go deep. Full disclosure, I'm gay. If you didn't know, I should have had my fan at that moment.
Okay.
Yes. But yeah, that was probably the biggest journey I've ever gone through in my life. I'm actually only 9 years from being out. Yeah.
What?
Yeah, people would have no idea. I did not come out until the age of 30.
Wow.
Yeah.
I feel like that's how. Wait, no, I was like, I feel like I've been here forever, but
I know, right? I was like, I surely met you after that. I
think you met me maybe at 32, 33.
Yeah, not too long afterwards.
So yeah, you met the real true Phillip.
The true
fresh so
Phillip.
I apologize to anybody that met me before 30 because this after 30 is like the real true me.
Yeah.
And so I really grew up with being a shell of myself. I wasn't really allowed to express myself. I personally knew I was gay when I was probably about 6 or 7 years old.
Okay.
Wow.
But something just deep inside of me said, don't tell people, don't express any of these feelings.
Was that because of for you the living situation?
Yes.
Or is it just because something of yourself that didn't want to tell people?
I feel like it was my inner self protecting me from my environment. I grew up in a Church of Christ household, so very religious. I also grew up in suburban white neighborhoods, and I'm from Longview, which is a town that's a little bit
Smaller, yeah.
smaller than Dallas. And
Yeah,
so
they're way more conservative and reserved.
yeah, and so I really think that inner voice that just told me to hold on was protecting me, because I really don't think that my parents would have been able to handle having a gay child at that time. Um, I do feel because they were so religious, and my mom is still super, super um, withdrawn from like my life as you know, dating and being gay. Like, she knows I came out to her at 30, but it's a difficult thing for her.
Yeah.
And I understand my mom's point of view, but I also had to understand my point of view, that I have to live my life the way that I see fit, and it doesn't matter what my parents think, what the church thinks, what anybody thinks. For me, I just had to live my truth. And so just imagine from the age of 7 to 30.
It is a long time.
It was a lot to hold. And
Yes.
actually, the struggles were so much harder in the teenage years. And then I just remember having that feeling of like, man, when you turn 18, you're going to have to tell your mom and dad that you were gay. And the anxiety that I felt, I kept that anxiety from 18 to 30. Like every birthday, I actually dreaded.
Yeah.
I dreaded having a birthday because I was so scared that someone would say, why aren't you dating? Why aren't you married? And
or the pressure of, I'm ready for some grandbabies and all of that other type of stuff.
Yeah, and so for me, I am happy in the fact that I did not portray to be anything else but
Phillip.
but me.
Yeah.
But still, I was a shell of myself, and I really struggled. And gosh, we're gonna get deep now. There was even a struggle of, I didn't know whether I wanted to be alive or not.
That's what I was thinking, like because it sounds like a prison sentence. When you having to
like
within yourself.
It was a personal hell that I felt.
Yeah, exactly.
Because it's like, you know, that's a good example, because it's almost like you're trapped within your own skin.
Right.
You know who you are, you know what you love, you know what you are supposed to be doing, but I was living in a cage of, in this small town, your parents go to this church, and then the thing about religion is so difficult, because I grew up with the phrase, if you were a homosexual,
you were going to hell.
And that weighed on me for years. I mean, up until the age of 30, I just assumed I was going to hell, because that's what the preacher said when I was growing up.
Yeah, I think it was all through that.
Like that's religion, period.
Do you have anyone to confide into? I mean, you said it felt like your parents didn't know a best friend or anything?
No, I just sort of rejected friendships because I didn't want people to get close to me.
Oh, yeah, because you was kind of still put on a facade a little. Even though you were showing up in your truth, well, you were showing up as Phillip. You couldn't wholeheartedly show up as yourself.
I couldn't show up as the full 100% Phillip. And so
I have lonely.
Great friends that knew me before I came out, but I just, you know, things are so different now. It's just things naturally disconnected, but I wish that I would have been able to live in the truth, and maybe I would have found somebody to confide in. And I think that's where that loneliness of just thinking that I didn't have any option came into play. And so I think for me, that's where I was like, what are we doing? Like, what's the point of living if I can't be the true person that I am? And so I struggled. And the crazy thing is, I talk so badly about religion, but I still believe, and I still believe in God. And I feel like God, He always speaks through something with me. And I remember this song by Mandisa, which is one of the Christian singers out there. And it just kind of brought me back to a level of comfort where I felt like I was hearing God and saying, "You're going to be okay." And from that moment, I got up off the floor and I cried a lot, but I was able to sort of piece things together. And I think from that moment when I decided to live, I was able to actually let go of that version of Philip. And as soon as I did that, it was like boom, boom. I moved to Dallas. I got out of that small town, which there's nothing wrong with that town. It's great. It just wasn't.
It just wasn't
it
for
wasn't
you. That's
for
how I feel
me.
about Texarkana. I'm like, honey,
Yeah, it just wasn't for me.
we all three are from small hometowns.
Oh yeah, Texarkana. That's right. Yeah, so for me, moving to Dallas really changed my life, and I did continue going to church, and so I met a really good friend of mine. Her name is B, and I know you've met her. And we were hanging out at church, and we decided to kind of hang out outside of church. And my mind is so funny because I was like, oh, I don't want her to get the wrong impression that this is a date. And so I was like, B,
girl, come here.
I got to tell you something.
Let's clarify some things.
And she was like, I already knew
Like
when you opened your mouth.
Right, exactly. Like, duh. Like, are you really talking to me about
That's
this?
not a question. It was not anything. But yeah, she honestly was the very first person that I told. And then through her, I met some other friends and connected and told them.
And just so, been blossoming.
Blossoming ever since.
Ever since.
It looks good on you. Like, I can't see you as a different Philip.
Me
like,
either.
Nicole, I want you to meet a guy I met. Yeah. He's a designer, and I'm like, I don't. Yeah. I'm fine meeting people, but I'm shy at meeting people at first.
Sure.
But when I met you, you're very. Because I remember first we started talking about K-pop.
Oh my gosh.
I love K-pop. Like,
I
love
about
Blackpink.
Yes.
Your song. Have you heard the song?
Oh yeah.
Dallas.
Oh yes. We gotta go.
Yeah. $235 for a ticket.
Like, wait a minute. How many songs do I know by K-pop?
Is that a drink?
It's a drink.
I'll have a sip on that one.
I've been sipping the honey. I'm like, they like this bitch over here drink.
Look,
she may not be saying much, but she's
like
sipping.
To have fun.
Okay, she may not be saying much, but she's sipping much.
Okay.
I first met you at
my birthday dinner at Don't Tell Supper Club.
Oh my gosh, that was such a fun night.
Oh my goodness.
So I was like,
what an interesting night.
Yeah, because he was very inviting. And then I was like, I had Jay Park on my phone.
Oh, yeah.
And you're like, oh, you like keep him? Like, oh,
yeah.
You do too. I don't have to keep this a secret.
Welcoming and like, it's
I'm
like
glad
I
met
remember.
this Philip. I mean, if I met the other Philip, I would have been fine, but I'm glad
you
I
would
met
have been
the
fine.
true one.
I think my sweet, welcoming spirit was always there, but you just didn't get the whole of me.
Yeah.
I like the whole of you. It's
yes.
a whole different vibe.
It is.
Yeah.
And it's a good vibe. It's
like
such a good energy.
I like the realness.
Yeah, and I tell you what, like, I struggled with confidence. I struggled with speaking with people because I didn't like my voice, and like I'm the person that talks so much. I did not like the sound of my voice, and I was at times shy. I mean, I still talked, but I was still shy, and it was because I wasn't my full authentic self. So I feel like now, like, don't fuck with me.
Yeah.
I'm sweet, but I'm like,
don't,
oh no.
You would get this.
Don't come with all of that stuff, talking about you're going to hell, all of this. Like no,
we're not.
It's not going to happen.
That's whenever you said that, whenever you still believe in God. So it's like, that's what one thing with me is, like, when people are like, you can't be like this because you go to church. I'm like, that's just the church talking.
It is.
Literally. You still pray to God. You still, you still, like you said, you heard it. Like you felt
comfortable. I heard him, yeah.
So it's like, it's the people telling you that.
It is.
It's definitely, I feel like with religion, they want to use the Bible and throw out specific verses
Ooh, let me
to
drink to this.
control their people. And it's just like, I read the same Bible as you, and I'm not reading it as that because to me, God is love.
Yeah.
And love is love.
Exactly.
That's what I love about spirituality.
Yeah.
Like I don't know if it's a small city thing, the thing got nothing else to do but be all about church. But honey, we were some holy rollers. Like we was at everything, at every Bible, yes, at every Bible study, every Sunday school, every I don't know if y'all had revivals, musicals. Like
CYO.
It was like every time you turned around, your ass was in the church. And I love
during the summer, I was at church camp.
Yes, vacation Bible school is what they called it in my hometown.
Up on a trailer in the back, going down the street,
and nothing was holy about. The older you got, the less holy it was when it came to vacation Bible school.
Your brother who's teaching me about the Bible just smoke weed.
You're like, wait a minute. It was some little ratchet stuff going on.
Yeah.
But it was like with growing up with religion, like I just never found the peace and the solace that they said it was supposed to. I was in fucking fear. Like I would go to church because I was scared to go to hell.
Yes.
Then I couldn't ask any questions because you serve a jealous God. And,
yeah.
and it was literally just the people didn't have the answer to give me. So instead they were like, you can't question God.
Yeah.
You serve a jealous God. You're doing wrong. And I'm like, oh, goddamn, I'm making God mad. Oh, and I said, goddamn, I'm making God mad again.
Yeah.
But like the difference with spirituality is like what you said, God is love.
Yeah.
And that was like that night when we now, I'm like, y'all contradict yourself. It's a contradiction. Like, how do you say that God is love and then label God as jealous and envious? That's not of God. That's you.
Yeah. I mean,
that's your trait.
Virginia, except I was going to hell.
Yeah. No.
Because that's what was imposed on us. Like, I mean,
nobody. Because you wasn't married.
But it was in my mind. Like I remember, I cried and I prayed. I'm like, I'm not. I was just like, I don't. But now I'm like, why did I do that? It was fun. So why did I have to confess to something like that?
I think religion comes with more conviction and that's what I felt like. Religion was all about convicting you. If you're not right, you're getting conviction. But with spirituality, it's like it hugs and it loves me. Oh, you're not perfect. I'm gonna show you your strength and why you can be amazing and why you're still valuable and lovable. Like that's what I get from spirituality.
It's crazy how that religion is traumatizing for some people.
It's traumatizing
because it makes you not be yourself.
Exactly.
It makes you not express who you are, or to express the experiences that you should be able to talk to your parents. Like, I had sex with somebody. This is how I'm feeling. Is this way? But you don't because you feel like you're condemned, or just anything.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's more of that.
And honestly, it's still traumatic for me. Like, I can be around someone super religious, and I can detect that if I told them that I was gay, they would be like, okay, and just like
completely change.
They would completely change. Their demeanor would change. And so it's like, it's so traumatic to me that I can read somebody who is not welcoming of the LGBTQ community. I can feel it instantly. And so that's just something that I just don't think is okay. I think things are getting better, but also like people are going to leave the church if you keep having
I feel like they already are.
Yeah.
I don't even really hear people talk about church as much anymore, except for the older people like our parents. Mm-hmm. I don't really hear any of my peers talking about church or I need to be in church on Sunday.
It's when you are so judgmental when you're not supposed to be judging. You're supposed
how can
to be
you
loving.
heal judging?
It's hard, yeah. So for me, I definitely feel like that leaving the church, I got closer to God.
Yeah.
I feel the same way. My dad, I will never forget my dad told me. He's like, ever since you left being Catholic, you're lost. I was like, no, actually, I've been found.
Yeah.
I found my way since I left the Catholic Church.
Exactly.
Because now I understand that it's okay to make mistakes.
Right.
Exactly.
I'm still loved.
You sit there and tell us that the only, with religion, the only perfect person to walk this earth was Jesus. I don't know, there was Christianity anyway. And it's just like, well then, why are you expecting me to be perfect? Like if I'm not this, and you're not even perfect, but yet you're sitting here judging me and condemning me when you have your own sins. You know what I'm saying? It's just like a country. To me, the perfect word that I can think of when it comes to religion is contradiction.
Yeah, no, I feel you. And I feel deeply that I wish that it was different, but I mean, we're just
It is what
speaking
it
facts
is.
and truth, and even sometimes
We're not the only ones that feel this shit. Y'all feel this shit too.
Yeah, we know you guys.
Yeah, you feel it too.
For anybody out there that may be, still struggling with maybe your spirituality, your sexuality, just find yourself and you'll figure out the rest later. And so that's kind of, I wish I had that guide when I was younger. I mean, gosh, I wish I would have had so many experiences being gay because there were just things that I didn't know, that I just had to learn on the fly. Like coming out at 30, quite the experience.
I'm sure.
Quite the story.
Quite
the story. I mean, it's not a fairy tale.
They're not real anyway.
Yeah, apparently.
Honey, it does not matter if you're gay or straight. That shit is not a fairy tale.
Exactly.
It does not matter. It is not a fairy tale. Period.
Yeah.
Like I keep drinking with this hand. I'm like, oh my
hair. I can't help the hair part unless I put it up in the bun.
Oh my gosh! I hope they weren't hearing me sipping.
Sipping all the time.
I have like small burps. So you ain't hear that.
I did want to ask you though, real quick. When you said that you finally came out at the age of 30, what was the response? Like, how did the dynamic of the relationship between you and your parents or your family, whoever, change after that?
That is a good story. Are you ready?
I'm ready. Like, do I need to go get the other bottle? Let me go get y'all talk. I'm gonna go grab the other bottle. This is real shit live. It ain't edited.
This is real. I told my dad in the month of May, so I remember that I could not find a good time to tell my mom. And I struggled. And I remember telling my mom, I think it was like October of that same year. I had told my dad in May, and I didn't even get to telling her. And funny story, I was at a concert, and I will always have this person as my favorite singer because I just remember the moment of being authentic at a Katy Perry concert.
Oh, okay.
And there were some songs of hers that really touched me. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to tell my mom. And so that weekend, I ended up telling her, and I told her on a Sunday. Like, I went the whole weekend, trying to find the time to do it because it's like, do I do it now? Do I do it at breakfast? Do I do it at dinner?
Like, when is the right time for this shit?
When's the right time?
Do I need to wait till I have a drink?
Exactly.
Oh, wait, she's tired?
Yeah. And then I was like, you know what? I'm just going to wait till Sunday. And then I got to come back.
Let the Holy Spirit touch you a little bit.
And I told my mom probably 2 or 3 hours before I was supposed to leave and come back to Dallas. And I told her, and she was very quiet, but then she definitely had questions, and she was like, I just wasn't thinking that this was something you were going to tell me. And she goes, I don't know why I didn't know this earlier. She's like, have you always been gay? And I was like, yeah, I've known since I was 6 or 7. And she's just like, I just didn't see it. I don't understand. And I was like, well, Mom, it's okay. I mean, I'm sure it's new to you. But I also hesitated in telling you because my mom has always said some interesting things that
in regards to other people.
Yeah, to other people. And so I brought this up to her, and she was like, oh, I don't mean those things. And it's like, but Mom.
But you said it, sis.
You said it, and it's like, I just felt that you felt this way.
That's the way she was speaking.
Mm-hmm.
And it made you more apprehensive.
Think about it. I didn't come out until the age of 30 because I was so scared of her reaction. And so the conversation kind of dissipated. I mean, there was, I think, confusion in the room. And I was like, I can try to offer as much information to help you or whatever. But I remember leaving, and I mean, she definitely told me she loved me and she hugged me and stuff, but I knew that it was a shock to her. And it was a shock to her system. But the strangest thing was like a week later, I call her. I was on the way back from talking to my dad, and he had mentioned that he had talked to my mom. And I was like, oh, I can imagine what that conversation was. And so I called her and I said, hey, I heard you talk to dad. And she was like, yeah, I told him about what you told me. And um, I think he's in shock. And I said,
she talked to him prior.
Yeah. And I was like,
she didn't know that he knew before her.
No. So that was very hurtful to her that she found out last. And I was like, well, you found out last because I wasn't sure about how your reaction was going to be. And so she told me on the phone, well, why don't you go get your testosterone checked?
Oh.
And she was like, maybe that will lead some answers. And I was like, Mom, I'm pretty sure there's not a test for gay or straight. And so
like
testosterone
like, it's a hormonal issue now. My ex is like, it's a hormonal issue.
It's like so you are not.
You are not gay. You are straight.
You are straight. The lie detector determined that was a lie.
Yeah. And so that is really one of the few conversations that I've had about my sexuality with her. Since then, I remember, I guess gay marriage got approved, like 2015?
Yeah.
I do remember we had a death in the family, and it was really shocking to my mom. It was her sister.
Oh, wow.
And I just remember her saying, and this is the last kind of comforting thing that I remember her saying. She was like, well, gay marriage just passed. She's like, are you going to get married? And I just jokingly said, Mom, I got to find the guy first. So that was really the last honest conversation that we've had about it. I think out of sight, out of mind for her. Yeah. And so we're good. Our relationship is good. It's just, I wish that it could be more whole, but maybe, as I start finding someone to bring around my mother, we'll see how that goes. I mean, we might want to have reality cameras there.
She may love him more than you. You may be surprised. He may be like the glue that seals everything because he may bring the personality. And I have so many friends with this, like this,
story.
Yes, and even a family member. It's so ironic. I have a family member that's a fashion designer, and I won't say his name just because but he's a fashion designer, been in Ebony magazine and everything, and he's here in Dallas, Texas. And he's way older than me, because his mom was the oldest of all the kids, so he was way older, and he just disappeared. So I was young when he disappeared. He came to Dallas, and then it comes to find out, like, his father just did not receive his lifestyle. Like, he just wrote him off kind of in a way. And so he was just like, well, I'm gone, and created this whole other family. And it was even times like when you met me that I was reaching, because I was wanting to be a personal stylist. That was my business when you met me. Honey, we said many things. So we be doing many things.
Oh yeah, we do a lot.
But I had the coolest closet, and it's just like, it breaks my heart still. Like, I would reach, and I think I've even mentioned him to you before. I'm like, I got a cousin, and I'm like, I wanted him to meet us at JR's or something. We was in Oakland one time, and I'm like, I don't know. It's like, because we're like first cousins, and his father created this wedge not only between them two, but all of us. And then when my aunt passed away, it was just surprising. Like, not even at the funeral, like, it was that big of a disconnect. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I have seen. I mean, I was gonna ask you, like, even though, like, how you said you wish it to be more home, a little bit more what is the word I'm looking for? I be getting fart brain, but like a deeper connection of acceptance and embracing a different way.
Yeah.
Like, did you feel some type of relief though at the same time that you were still loved,
Yeah.
even though it was because it is so many people who just get like
shunned or kind of pushed
yeah,
away.
and I've seen it firsthand within my own family, and I have more than one, homosexual relative, but that was his story.
Yeah, and I think I know for myself, my mom loves me. I'm her only child, of course. She's actually like a helicopter mom. She hates every time that I get on a plane. She's like, be safe. She's very protective. So I know that my mom loves me.
It will always be that anxiety, like me even thinking like I'll probably be the same way with Chloe and Bailey.
No. You'll once a mother, like you're attached.
It's so hard.
I'm 39 and my mom still worries about me. For me, like our relationship, even though I wish it was more talking about the real authentic me, I feel good because I know who I am and I'm loved, and that's great. We'll get to the other things as they come. It's kind of a day by day thing.
A day by day.
But the most important thing for me was my friendships that I have made in Dallas. And so your friends are your chosen family.
Yes, and that's what I feel like why it was so easy for my cousin to keep moving, because it's like not even just a friendship; it's a family. It's an extension of family. Family is not necessarily blood. It's who is there for you and makes you feel good and breathe life into you is your family.
Yeah.
And so I'm very glad you got that. It's so ironic. Yeah. Like I said, I can't even imagine what the other Phillip was like. And and it makes sense to me now hearing this story, like how you're so comfortable moving solo dolo. Like I met you by yourself. You met me by myself. We both had a suite at the fashion show, and our suite was beside each other. And at the time, I was real comfortable moving around by myself. I don't know what has happened, but it kind of makes sense. And one thing I remember that you will always say is like, "Oh, I don't have a lot of friends. I don't," and I'm like, every fucking where we go, people know you, Phillip. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? And not just anybody. It's the who's other people. Like, oh, Koya, I have this event you want to go to. You did not tell me you know the actual person. Like
Housewives, Dallas.
Yes, the Real Housewives of Dallas. We went to literally everything that we've gone to. People has been drawn to Phillip and know him and he is so humble and modest. I was just like, do you even know what's going on in your world? Like you keep saying that you're not, and I'm like, do you see who you talk to and who's all attracted to you? It's like crazy because you have such a glow, and it's phenomenal to come out of it with such a positive vibration after bottling something up for so many years. Some people go to so many different routes, with dealing with them for coping mechanism, and they don't shine as much once they finally come out. I think the thing that helped you is like, even though you didn't make the announcement, you were still standing somewhat in your truth. It didn't have to be big and in your face, but it was like this. It was still somewhat in your truth. I'm a mother, so I kind of can see. And then my daughter, I've gone through that situation with my daughter and her. I found that on accident with her, but I still, like, for your mom to say that she didn't know, I'm like, you knew. You just didn't want to receive it. And it's not no knock to her, but I'm just like, she'll do.
Especially like when my aunts and everybody's calling her and saying, we knew like at 12 and 13. And so it's just like, it's a shock to her. But you know what? Everybody's journey is their journey. And so I meet people where they are. But for me, I've released that hold and I am just myself. And I think that's where you see the people that gravitate towards me, and a lot of people that come around me. It's just because of that energy of like, this is the true authentic me.
it comes from no like I feel like I can be 100% myself around you.
Yeah.
Like I've shared some things with you while we out partying.
Yeah.
I would not say that was just I don't know, maybe I will, but not with just anybody. Not like how I do it. I'm like, Philip will not judge me. I know he will still love me, and this and that is like no judgment tone. Like you just when you like she said, like how she was drawn to you immediately. That connection.
I remember you were okay.
I was I blacked out drunk?
And you're like,
don't be judging me.
And then we all sat there and ate wings at Wing Bucket.
What?
And I'm like,
I don't remember. I don't remember this at all.
Oh yes.
What? I'm like, we're gonna eat wings together. Oh, I
did.
What?
I remember that night.
You weren't shy eating your wings.
Pre-vegan.
That was before I was a plant-based, but a bitch will still eat a chicken wing every once in a while. Still, don't judge me. I don't know why they're my kryptonite. My daughter's like, you didn't even eat chicken wings before you was a vegan. Now you act like you can't avoid them. Like, I don't know what it is. I do not remember this shit at all.
But I'm like, you're like, yeah, we'll go get chicken wings. I'm like, you're gonna go with this chicken wings? Yeah. I'm like, I like him. We're gonna go eat chicken wings. And I'm like,
I keep it real.
I was like, she's passed out. I don't know where she lives.
Was I passed
out?
Yeah. What did we do? What occasion was this? Please let it have been special.
It was just when we were running the streets of Deep Ellum when it was much safer.
I'm so glad. I'm so sad that it's ratchet because I love the Miss Phillip. Me and Phillip, we would start our partying. I was just talking about it. Before the pandemic, we were starting our partying on Wednesdays. Level is opening back up.
Oh my gosh, I love Level. Sorry, that's the best catfish I had ever had in Dallas.
Oh, that food was the bomb. We started our partying on Wednesday.
Yes.
And we chilled and relaxed on the night that everybody else went out on Saturday. Like I remember, we was like, we don't have anywhere to go on Saturday, but we was back at it on Sunday fun day. So it was like Wednesday, Thursday, Friday? I felt like we rested on Saturday.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
So our social life was you couldn't tell me we weren't Paris Hilton and Nikki.
It felt amazing. Entrepreneurs every night. And you know why we started on Wednesdays? Because it would be a networking event. Hey, entrepreneurs. And every networking event had a fucking bar. Yeah. So once you started,
and it was free.
And it was free. So it was like, once you started, it was like, where are we going next? Because we don't know how to sit still. We're used to bar hopping and going around.
Yeah.
I still want to go to the neighborhood with y'all.
Oh my gosh!
I thought we went.
No, we didn't go. We haven't gone together.
Oh,
I've been there many times with McCoy. I love.
Okay.
Are you sure you wasn't blacked out, or am I hallucinating?
No,
I thought we parked. Or maybe we parked because he stayed right up the street.
Yeah, I stay up the street.
So maybe we parked that way, or I was
with someone else. We parked close to the apartment, and then we walked.
Okay. Yeah. Girl, I've been out so many times.
I love going over there just to dance.
That is our favorite thing.
Yeah. When we she's like, "What do you want to do?" She's like, "I just want to dance." She's like, "Neighborhood."
Because we don't have to worry about it. If she's married, let me get a refill. She's married, so it's like you don't have to worry about getting in any trouble. And then you're going to feel fucking beautiful because y'all compliment us, honey. I get so many compliments. I love it, love it, love it.
I love it. And so she's like, "What do you want to do?" Just like dance. She's like,
and we literally dance.
And just dance all night.
That was the day last year when we picked up the vacuum on the side of the street.
No, that
was last year.
Kay. Remember you met Kay?
Oh, yeah. When we went to go get this tarot card reading. When we saw this
in October of last year. Yeah.
I hope you enjoyed part 1. Come back next week to hear Phillip's tarot card reading where things get real. Don't forget to like and follow us on Instagram at Our Naked Truth and here on YouTube. You can hear our episodes Spotify, Apple, and Anchor.